Imagine a room packed with Victorians, all gasping for air, clutching pearls and ribs, blamed on the dreaded corset. If gossip columns had their way, every period drama would be a slasher flick, victims dropping bloodlessly by fainting couch, that very invention supposedly designed for such dramatic exits. Legend has it women keeled over like dominoes, ribs bursting like popcorn, with hatpins and hoop skirts doubling as instruments of mass mayhem. But here's the plot twist. This horror story largely sprung from the era's favorite genre, melodramatic novels, not grim medical files. Contemporary records rarely mention corset-induced deaths or shattered ribs. Most women donned their corsets with the breezy ease of today's bras, suffering more from societal overdressing than internal organ calamity. Sure, doctors occasionally flagged tight lacing as risky, but those were the extreme enthusiasts, not the average fashionista. In reality, corsets evolved into flexible, supportive undergarments. Think Spanx with better posture and far fewer ambulance calls. While corsets were often associated with women's fashion and discomfort, the invention of high heels reveals another surprising story about gender and footwear. Cleopatra rocking stilettos? Not quite. Here's the real heel deal. High heels didn't spring to life just to elevate women above mere mortals. They first stomped their way onto battlefields. Back in the 10th century, Persian cavalry weren't chasing fashion points. They wore heels to lock their feet firmly in stirrups while waving swords around. Their kicks were more horse-stable than haute couture. Fast forward, and European aristocratic men got heel-happy. Toss out the rugged boots. Hello, fancy tights and sky-high shoes designed to raise both status and stature. Louis XIV flaunted red heels centuries before Louboutin made them vogue. By the 18th century, heels exited men's wardrobes with a dignified bow and tiptoed into women's closets, swapping battlefield bravado for feminine flair. So next time your heels boost your confidence, remember, they started as warrior wear, not dance floor dazzle. Fashion, like a good pair of pumps, always comes full circle. Although high heels are commonly linked with women, the assumption about clothing colors like black being slimming also highlights widespread fashion misconceptions. Ever wonder why so many closets resemble a magician's hat in mid-trick? Spoiler, it's not because we're all prepping for an impromptu rabbit reveal. Nope. It's the ancient myth that black clothes possess some magical power to zap away extra pounds. This legend predates most fashion influencers. Somewhere in style history, someone crowned black as the original Photoshop filter for your wardrobe. Science, as always, isn't quite so gullible. Why does black look slimming? It's all about shadows and contrast, darling. Dark colors blur those body lines, fooling the eye into thinking your silhouette scored a few inches. Slip on black and voila, you become your own Houdini, minus the cape and top hat. But let's be honest, black won't make you invisible, nor will it erase that third slice of cake. The real magic? Fit, fabric, and a splash of confidence, no matter the hue. And let's not forget black's diva quirks. Lint, cat hair, and surprise dust storms turn your sleek look into escaped from a mime chic faster than you can say abracadabra. Just as the idea that black clothing always slims is debated, the rule about not wearing white after Labor Day is another fashion myth that has persisted over time. Ever feared slipping into white jeans in September would trigger a fashion SWAT team, sirens blaring, ready to haul you off for a wardrobe violation? You're not alone. The no white after Labor Day rule is as legendary and stubborn as week-old guacamole. This stubborn myth insists white is strictly a summer hue, as if your pants might spontaneously combust once autumn rolls around. But where did this rule come from? Blame the bougie set of late 19th century America. Wealthy elites cooked up the rule to separate loyal old money from pesky new money upstarts. Etiquette gurus and glossy magazines took the bait, turning it into gospel faster than you can say, matching clutch. Let's shatter this pastel prejudice. Today's fashionistas gleefully defy the calendar, rock winter whites, and survive unscathed. There's no chic Gestapo confiscating snowy sweaters in September. Unless your closet runs on rules, white is always in season. Just watch out for that pumpkin spice latte spill. Beyond seasonal color rules, many people believe that vintage fashion held a superior quality compared to modern garments. You know how everyone gushes over grandma's closet but side-eyes today's fast fashion? Coincidence? I think not. The myth goes like this. Vintage clothing equals handcrafted perfection, while modern clothes unravel faster than your last relationship. But let's hang that fairy tale next to last winter's parka. Sure, many vintage pieces boasted sturdier fibers and cozy details, French seams, fully lined jackets, and the glorious hand-finished hem. Evidence your great-aunt had patience you'll never claim. Ever noticed Grandma's coat feels sturdier than your self-esteem? It's not just you. Here's the kicker. Back in the day, there was cheap, flimsy stuff too. It just didn't make the gram because it disintegrated sometime during the Nixon administration. Meanwhile, today's fast fashion dazzles with space-age dyes, magical stain resistance, and questionable shortcuts. Environmental bonus. Older generations lovingly repaired clothes. Now we thank our tees for their service before Marie Kondoing them straight to landfill heaven. So yes, nostalgia goggles can make polyester bell-bottoms look saintly, but not everything old was gold. Ready to peek inside that closet or still busy hashtagging your timeless thrift haul? Similarly, assumptions about vintage clothing align with beliefs that certain decorations, like bows and pink hues, are inherently feminine. Ever wondered why every cartoon princess rocks a bow and a pink dress, as if femininity got its start in the arts and crafts aisle? Society acts like pink and bows ooze girliness, like sugar dusted on a tiara. There's this stubborn myth that girls flock to pink like magpies to glitter, and that bows are nature's official badge of womanhood royalty. But hold your sequined horses! History shows bows once adorned dashing gentlemen, cravats fancier than anything on today's runway. Pink? It used to shout power. Just ask any 18th century aristocrat. If bows defined femininity, every Boy Scout would be a Disney princess by now. Fast forward to the early 20th century, and pink was actually a strong color for boys. It wasn't until marketers needed to sell twice the baby clothes that pink and bows got their girl gig. So next time you spot a pink-bowed princess, remember, those fairy tale symbols owe more to capitalism than chromosomes. While bows and color associations define gendered fashion myths, other common ideas focus on the origins of popular clothing items, such as the belief that jeans were invented in the USA. Ever been told jeans are as American as apple pie? Let's unpack that. Was Levi Strauss whipping up denim desserts or just reinventing the wardrobe? Both jeans and apple pie hold star billing in national lore, yet the myth persists that blue jeans were a USA-only discovery, perhaps unearthed beneath a pile of bald eagle feathers at the very first 4th of July BBQ. Here's the scoop. Levi Strauss, a cunning German immigrant, didn't invent jeans in 1873 San Francisco. Instead, he partnered with tailor Jacob Davis to patent reinforced rivets, crafting pants tough enough not to split like soggy gravy. And denim? That famously rugged fabric waltzed in from Nîmes, France. Yes, de Nîmes. Voila. While the iconic blue dye was globe-trotting over from India, not brewing in Lake Michigan. What made American jeans special? Those rugged, riveted pockets adored by gold rush miners, not Parisian fashionistas. Though if jeans truly sprang from the heartland, you'd expect Wi-Fi and cup holders by now. So next time you slip into your blue jeans, consider sending thank you notes to France, India, and a couple of clever Americans. But whatever you do, please don't bake them in a pie. In contrast to the prolific production of jeans, there's a persistent myth that historically poor people owned only a single outfit. Imagine a world without laundry days, not because you're a fashion minimalist, but because your entire wardrobe consists of one outfit, crustier than a family saga. The classic medieval myth? Peasants rocking a single threadbare ensemble, practically glued to their skin through the Black Plague and 3 harvests. But hey, let's not shame medieval fashion. Steve in accounting's been in the same slack since February, and no one started whispering behind his back yet. Here's the reality. Clothes were pricey, yes, but most folks owned 2 or 3 sets, enough to rotate, repair, or survive an unexpected chicken gut explosion. Garments were patched, repurposed, and handed down like treasured relics, gathering more stories than your local tavern keeper. Winter tunics kicked in with the frost. Light smocks emerged when the sun deigned to show up. For special occasions, there was the secret, fancy outfit, usually borrowed from someone silently praying you wouldn't spill anything. Layering was the medieval version of an outfit hack, and linen undies kept repeat wearing, well, slightly less tragic. So next time you gripe about laundry day, Remember, medieval peasants basically invented the capsule wardrobe, centuries before Instagram made it trendy. Survival, not style. Moreover, traditional views about limited clothing ownership extend to the notion that women did not wear pants until the 20th century. Ever pictured a 19th century lady doing yoga in petticoats? Neither did history textbooks. We usually peg women in pants as a Jazz Age revelation, flappers shaking things up with the Charleston as if trousers materialized out of thin air with a Charleston step. But here's the plot twist. Women have been rocking pants long before F. Scott Fitzgerald ever cracked open a notebook. Take ancient Scythian and Mongol women, pioneers of practical chic, who sported trousers for horseback riding. Because honestly, galloping in hoop skirts was history's ultimate extreme sport. Zoom ahead to Victorian times, where the infamous bloomer strutted in, pant-like and scandalous enough to spark more Tea Party gossip than actual trousers ever did. If Victorian bloomers had a voice, they'd plead for less mockery and maybe a bit more elastic. Then came the World Wars, turning skirts optional from a fashion statement to a factory floor necessity, as women swapped frills for slacks with zero apologies. By the swinging 60s, pantsuits crashed the corporate party, evolving from career killers to feminist power uniforms. Today, pants are so taken for granted, only runway designers pause to question them, which, frankly, might just be a sign we're finally doing fashion right. Similarly, the idea that pants were once off-limits to women parallels the belief that makeup has always been exclusively for women. Think makeup was always reserved for smoky eyes and kissable lips, just for the ladies? Think again. History's got a few tricks up its sleeve, and they're not all blush pink. Popular belief holds that cosmetics were invented for women to woo suitors or exit relationships with flair. But if makeup was truly a ladies-only club, somebody forgot to tell every Egyptian pharaoh ever. Cleopatra's killer eyeliner paved the way for Harry Styles' bold nail polish. Men in ancient Egypt weren't just lining their eyes for the perfect selfie. They believed kohl protected them from evil and broadcasted status. Fast forward to Rome, where soldiers slapped on rouge, not just for the glow, but to throw enemies off their game. Psychological warfare with a fabulous twist. By 18th century France, men didn't just powder their noses, they out-rouged their dates. Would you like a little face with your powder? Then Victorian England slammed the brakes, declaring makeup a hush-hush, strictly for the ladies. But history loves a comeback, and today's beauty aisles are delightfully less gendered. Concealer is now humanity's best friend, hiding existential dread one dab at a time. Who knew pouting in the mirror could be such a democratic act? Challenging these gendered fashion norms leads us to consider broader fashion dynamics, like the belief that trends always start with the elite before trickling down. Picture Marie Antoinette strutting her stuff while a crowd of peasants furiously scribbles notes. Sounds familiar? It's the classic saga. The rich and famous flaunt, and the rest of us scramble to copy, desperately hoping our style doesn't get fashionably guillotined. Legend has it, fashion trickles down like royal decree, from palace halls and red carpets right to our modest shoe racks. History's runway is lined with this theory. Aristocrats powdered their wigs. Jackie O turned oversized sunglasses into an icon. Runways today birth tomorrow's high street must-haves. But reality loves a good plot twist. Punk, hip-hop, grunge, these trends erupted from gritty garages and city sidewalks, not Versailles. If the elites always set the styles, Crocs would still be kitchen-only. Nowadays, the loudest trendsetters are social media creators filming dance challenges in messy bedrooms. Fast fashion means anyone can wear and broadcast a style worldwide overnight. Designers now scout street style for inspiration. So crowns aren't the only fashion royalty after all. Sometimes the real innovation happens where no one's rolling out a red carpet, unless it's just spilled ketchup. Alongside the trickle-down theory, sumptuary laws were thought to effectively maintain social order through controlled fashion. Imagine a world where donning purple could cost you a hefty fine, or worse, a stern dressing down from the fashion police armed with actual legal muscle. No, this isn't a runway nightmare, but the reality of sumptuary laws. Government-issued style guides with a spiteful bite. The mission? To keep peasants from suddenly looking a little too plush, all in the name of preserving those oh-so-fragile social hierarchies. Colors, fabrics, jewelry, even shoe height, everything was tightly regulated. Fancy shoelaces? Beware, or you might find yourself before the medieval Judge Judy. Ancient Rome and medieval Europe took these rules dead seriously. Only royalty could strut in silk or violet, while commoners were stuck in solid beige and perpetual itchiness. Break the dress code? Prepare for fines, public shaming, or even a stint behind bars, where hopefully stripes were the fashion. Yet clever rebels always found loopholes, because even back then, style refused to be silenced. Thankfully, the era of #JailedForVelvet is behind us. Nowadays, it's just your self-respect and common sense standing between you and a head-to-toe gold lame disaster. However, while sumptuary laws aim to regulate appearance, it's a myth that men never wore jewelry throughout history. Imagine a world where men's wrists are perpetually naked, their necks starkly unadorned, a place where jewelry belongs solely to magpies and monarchs. A chilling dystopia, right? Yet stubborn rumors claim jewelry is a feminine frill, and real men should recoil from anything shinier than their car keys. If bling emasculated, someone forgot to tell Henry VIII, or his hat. Now hop into the time machine. Ancient Egyptian pharaohs sparkled brighter than disco balls. Viking warriors clanked around with enough necklaces and arm rings to make a rapper at the Grammys do a double take. Auto-tune optional. Dapper Renaissance gents stacked rings like championship belts, their fingers flashier than a Vegas slot machine. But beyond vanity, this bling meant business. A jewel was a billboard for rank, wealth, or valor. Religious bling, too, rosaries, amulets, signet rings, offered spiritual street cred and presumably heavenly customer support. Then subtlety sneaked in. By the 20th century, men's jewelry shrank to cufflinks and tie bars, while wedding bands everywhere smirked at the no-rings myth. But hold that eulogy. Today's red carpet rebels think pearls, polish, and diamond grills are smashing old stereotypes, broadcasting worldwide on social media, where a bro's bling is pure self-expression, not just peacocking. So gentlemen, reclaim the sparkle. Your wrists, your neck, and history itself are begging for it. Similarly, assumptions about restrictive male adornment echo misconceptions about women's fashion, such as hoop skirts making walking impossible. Imagine trying to strut your stuff while carting around a portable tent. Welcome to the legend of the Victorian hoop skirt. Rumor has it that women trapped inside these billowing behemoths could barely budge, forever a gust away from a tabloid splash. Lady swept from garden party. Thanks to Gothic novels and snarky cartoons, the hoop skirt earned its rep as both a mobile prison and a chief tripping hazard. If that were true, Victorian society might have held synchronized turtle flip competitions just to get ladies to tea on time. In reality, though, hoop skirts, fondly nicknamed crinolines, were made of lightweight steel or whalebone, boasting more flexibility than your average beginner's yoga class. Historical diaries tell tales of women dancing, strolling, and even working in them, with no frantic rescue parties summoned. Sure, narrow doorways and rogue wind gusts posed the occasional challenge, but even the most seasoned debutante managed a graceful escape. As fashion evolved, hoop skirts shrank. Survival of the swishiest. Today's wedding and quinceañera gowns keep this tradition alive, thankfully toppling fewer priceless vases, though you'll still claim unbeatable personal space on the subway. In addition to worries about mobility with hoop skirts, silk has long been considered a rare and elite-only fabric. Imagine a world where silk pajamas aren't just a luxury, they're a royal birthright. You'd need a crown and scepter just to slip into your jammies, right? Legend has it that for centuries, only emperors and blue-blooded aristocrats dared cozy up in silk. Meanwhile, peasants were banished to a life of scratchy burlap sheets and rough cotton drawers. Ancient China played bouncer at this VIP fabric club, guarding their silkworms and sericulture secrets like they were the vault code to the world's best dumplings. Silk-wrapped traders on the Silk Road fueled the West's obsession, making every imported strand seem rarer than a polite comment on the internet. But here's where the imperial illusion unravels. As sericulture know-how spread and worms emigrated, presumably without passports or visa fees, European and Middle Eastern production boomed, making silk feel a little less exclusive. By the Renaissance, even modest households were sneaking in a silk ribbon here, a fancy kerchief there. Let's be honest, if silk had truly stayed a royal-only affair, Victorian gentlemen would be rocking burlap boxers. Today, pure silk is still posh. But thanks to blends, and maybe a suspicious silk shirt from your cousin's discount haul, everyone gets a little imperial flair. No crown required. Yet, despite silk's exclusivity, the idea that everyone dressed identically during historical periods is an oversimplification of fashion history. Imagine a world where every selfie looks exactly the same, not because of filter fatigue, but because everyone's rocking the exact same outfit. Welcome to the great historical fashion myth, a parade of tailor-made conformity, as popular at fancy weddings and dystopian sci-fi as it was in real life. Picture medieval peasants shuffled into identical brown sacks, or Victorians stuck at a never-ending black tie gala. But let's unravel that story stitch by stitch. The truth? Even before Instagram, historical fashion was, dare we say it, alive, kicking, and sometimes downright questionable. People have always been eager to flaunt status, wealth, and, yes, occasionally terrible taste. Renaissance peacocks strutted in vibrant velvet, despite sumptuary laws trying to stop them from upstaging the king. Those laws weren't some kind of sartorial straitjacket, just royal attempts to prevent a neighbor's outfit from stealing the spotlight, and possibly the throne. Fashion wasn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It was shaped by geography, climate, and just how wildly expensive peacock feathers happened to be. So while history lacked matching group tees, a tragic loss for team spirit, the myth of uniform wardrobes is a stitch modern imaginations keep botching. After all, if everyone wore beige, how else would anyone find their soulmate at the Renaissance fair?